Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show that cuts through complexity to bring you the essential insights you need to truly understand critical topics. Today, we're really getting into the weeds, diving deep into the meticulous world of digital investigations with a session we've called Exposing the Truth in the Digital Evidence. Now, this deep dive is specifically designed with you in mind, students of the Dr. Sam Pack College of Business, whether you're in our BBA, Management Information Systems, BAAS in Information Technology, or BS in Computer Information Systems programs, especially those of you focusing on computer forensics. But honestly, even if that's not your exact track, the foundational knowledge we're about to unpack, it's invaluable for any college student or working professional who's interested in understanding how digital evidence is handled, rigorously. Our goal here is pretty straightforward, to shed light on the key concepts and practical stuff vital to this field. And our insights today, they come straight from a core text. Chapter 2, The Investigator's Office and Laboratory, from the Guide to Computer Forensics Investigations, 6th edition, by Nelson and Stewart. So our mission for this deep dive is clear. We're going to explore the critical requirements for setting up and managing a really robust digital forensics lab. This is the bedrock, really, where digital truth gets uncovered and, importantly, legally defended. Before we jump in, if you find these discussions valuable, please take a second to like, subscribe, follow, and share this deep dive. Your comments and engagement, they really help us bring these insights to more people. Okay, let's start right at the foundation. When we talk digital forensics, why is having a dedicated, secure lab just absolutely non-negotiable? What makes it so different from, say, your standard IT office?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's fundamentally about the integrity of the evidence. A digital forensics lab isn't just an office space. It's a highly specialized, controlled environment. Every single aspect, from the physical locks on the door to the internal processes, it's all designed to preserve the pristine state of digital evidence. Just imagine trying to present your findings in court. If that chain of custody or the data's integrity is compromised even a tiny bit, well, the whole investigation can just fall apart. The lab is where that integrity is guarded, from the moment evidence walks in the door until the final report goes out. And this commitment to integrity, it leads straight into the importance of accreditation. You mentioned ANA, the ASI-ASQ National Accreditation Board. They're the internationally recognized body for accrediting crime and forensics labs. And they don't just hand out a certificate. They conduct these really rigorous ongoing audits of a lab's tasks, its functions, everything. This ensures consistency, accuracy, and that you're sticking to global standards.
For you, as future professionals, understanding that ANAB accreditation isn't just some badge, it's really like a shield. That's crucial. It means your work can stand up to intense scrutiny, making your findings legally defensible. Credible.
So it's not just about having the fancy tools, but about the really rigorous processes and ultimately the legal weight that comes with it. That makes total sense. Now, who are the key players? Who keeps this kind of complex operation running smoothly day to day? What about the human side, the staffing?
Exactly. You could have the most state-of-the-art lab, but it's only as good as the people inside. The lab manager, they're sort of the orchestrator. Their job covers setting goals, managing the case assignments, overseeing schedules, defining clear duties for the staff. They also need to know when reports are due, keeping that whole investigative process flowing. But it's not just the manager. The responsibility really extends to every single staff member. I mean, this field changes so fast, right? Continuous professional development isn't just nice to have, it's absolutely essential. Staff have to constantly update their knowledge, get the right training, stay aware of new tech. It means actively going after professional development programs because, honestly, what was cutting edge last year might be, almost obsolete next year. Your ability to adapt and learn is just as vital as any extensive software.
Wow. That sounds like a huge operational lift. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. It's the money side. How do you even begin to budget for something this specialized? This has got to be a significant investment, right? Whether you're a public agency or maybe a private company.
Well, it's definitely a substantial investment, no question. But it's one that can be strategically justified, The first step is meticulous planning, breaking down expected costs into, say, monthly, quarterly, annual expenses. Often, you'll use past investigation expenses, that historical data, to kind of project future needs. The lab manager usually handles this detailed financial planning. Key things you absolutely have to budget for. Well, there's the big stuff, purchasing specialized hardware and software, which isn't cheap. Then there's ongoing facility costs, like rent or maintenance. And critically, that continuous investment in training your people. Here's a practical tip, actually. Tools like the Uniform Crime Report can be super valuable for budgeting. It tells you things like the prevalence of different hard drive types, SATA, maybe older SCSI drives in the operating systems, like different Windows versions that are showing up in reported crimes.
That data is gold because it helps you allocate resources effectively. Make sure your lab is equipped for the kind of tech you'll actually see, right? It also helps you pinpoint if you need, say, specialized software for specific types of crime.
That's a really smart, data-driven way to approach it. How does the justification, the business case for a lab, maybe look different for, let's say, law enforcement versus a private company trying to protect its own assets?
The core goal, security, and truth is similar, but the justification often shifts a bit. For a private company, the environment is usually more homogeneous. They're typically dealing with their own systems, their own network. So their initial assessment will probably involve a really thorough inventory of their current hardware and software, analyzing past internal security incidents, maybe breaches or fraud, and looking ahead at how future tech changes might impact their specific business risks. They're often weighing the cost against protecting, say, valuable intellectual property, trade secrets, future business plans. It's often more about loss prevention than prosecuting after something's happened. And a critical point for both, but maybe especially private companies, is how time management factors in when choosing tools. Faster, more reliable software and hardware. That means quicker investigations, less downtime. And of course, having robust storage and network infrastructure is absolutely paramount. You're dealing with huge amounts of data securely. Ultimately, getting management to sign off means building a really compelling business case. You're not just asking for money.
You're showing how this lab is a strategic asset, how it will actually reduce long-term costs, maybe by preventing a major data breach, or even increase profitability by protecting assets. Think about quickly resolving internal fraud. The savings can be massive.
That's definitely a powerful way to frame it for getting the funding. So what are the key stages in putting together that business case, the kind that actually gets approved?
It's a methodical process, really. You start with a clear justification, why do we need this lab? Then comes detailed budget development covering everything from facility costs to hardware, software, and all those miscellaneous bits and pieces. After that, you hit the crucial approval and acquisition phase. Once you get the green light and the funds, you move into implementation, actually setting things up. This is followed by really rigorous acceptance testing to make sure everything works as planned. That testing might show things you need to fix, leading to correction for acceptance. And then finally, the lab goes into full production. The more detailed and well-researched that initial plan is, the better your chances of getting it approved and funded properly. It's all about showing foresight and, a clear return on investment.
Okay, beyond the physical space and the budget, let's talk about the people again. What kind of training, what certifications are really crucial for someone wanting to be an effective digital forensics professional?
Right, the human element is just paramount. Getting appropriate training and certifications is not just about looking good on paper. It actually validates an investigator's skills and knowledge. And that's critical for credibility, especially if findings end up in court. Now, there are challenges for sure. These programs, they can be expensive, and the requirements are often pretty demanding, needing significant time and dedication. But the investment definitely pays off. And there's quite a diverse range of well-known certification programs and organizations out there. For general investigative skills, you've got things like IACIS, the International Association of Computer Investigative Specialists, and the ISC Certified Cyber Forensics Professional, or CCFP. Then there are tool-specific ones like the NK Certified Examiner, ENCE, and the Access Data Certified Examiner, ACE. For folks who may be heading into law enforcement, there's training from the High Tech Crime Network, HGCN, DCIT, FLETC, and NW3C. You've also got broader security and forensic certs from EC Council, the SANS Institute, and ISFCE, which offers the CCE certification. Let's see. Don't forget the DFCB, the Security Alliance, CSA, and CTIN. Each one kind of offers a different focus, so understanding that is key to picking the right path for your career goals.
That's quite a list. Definitely a roadmap there for professional development. So for you listening, it really sounds like it's about aligning these options with where you want to go in forensics. Okay, once you're trained and maybe certified, you need the right gear. What actually goes into picking a basic forensic workstation? And how might these setups differ?
Yeah, workstation selection is really driven by two things: budget and the specific kinds of investigations you expect to handle. Think about a police lab. They deal with an incredibly diverse range of devices coming in from the public, right? So their workstations need to be really versatile. They have to be capable of handling everything from, obscure old systems to the very latest smartphones. Now, contrast that with a private sector lab. They might have a more homogeneous environment, dealing mainly with their company's standard issue hardware and software. That can sometimes simplify the equipment choices a bit. It's also worth thinking about specialized workstations. For instance, having a lightweight mobile forensic setup. That can be invaluable for imaging evidence out in the field. It lets investigators securely grab data on site without having to immediately transport suspect drives back to the lab. That speed can be really critical in time-sensitive cases.
Makes sense. Beyond those main workstations, what other essential hardware and software do labs absolutely need to keep stocked? It sounds like you need a pretty deep inventory for just about anything.
Well, absolutely. Preparedness is the name of the game. On the hardware side, let's see, you'll definitely need a digital camera, still in motion, for documenting scenes and evidence. Assorted anti-static bags, crucial for protecting sensitive components. An external CD-DVD drive, because you'll still encounter older media. A whole range of cables. IBE, SATA, including those older 40-pin ones, plus newer USB 3.0 or faster cables and SATA cards. Don't forget ribbon cables for old floppy disks, believe it or not. Extra SCSI cards, maybe ultra-wide for older server or enterprise systems. Various graphics cards, PCI, AGP types, sometimes you need specific ones to access data. Assorted FireWire and USB adapters. A diverse stock of hard drives and USB drives for making forensic copies and doing analysis. Critically, adapters for 2.5-inch notebook drives to standard IDIATA, or SATA, because laptops are everywhere. And, of course, a good set of computer hand tools. Then for software, keeping licensed copies is vital. You need Microsoft Office, current and older versions, since documents are often key evidence. A powerful hex editor for that really low-level data examination. Maybe some programming languages for custom scripts or analyzing malware. Specialized image viewers. Alternative Office suites like WPS Office, WordPerfect. Maybe open source ones because you never know what format documents will be in. And, surprisingly often, accounting software like Quicken and QuickBooks. Financial records are frequently part of investigations. Having this level of detail ready means, hopefully, no piece of evidence, no matter how obscure its format, is beyond your reach.
That is an impressive, almost overwhelming list of tools. But okay, shifting from the digital back to the physical, what are the absolute non-negotiable physical security requirements for a digital forensics lab?
Right, it really boils down to containment and control. Since most of the work happens in the lab, it has to be like a fortress, protecting both the staff and the evidence. And this also means having strict inventory controls for every piece of equipment in there. So, minimum security requirements. They're quite specific. You need a small room, ideally, with true floor-to-ceiling walls. No drop ceiling someone could pop through. A secure door with a really robust lock. A secure container, think a heavy-duty safe, or a strong file cabinet with a high-quality padlock specifically for evidence storage. And absolutely critical, a meticulously kept visitor's log. Everyone who comes in signs in. And maybe most importantly, staff need to know these policies. It's useless having rules if people aren't briefed, especially on changes. Enforcement relies on awareness.
I can really see how every single detail there matters. What about investigations that need even more security? Are there, like, specialized types of labs for really sensitive cases?
Absolutely. For high-risk investigations, maybe involving classified information or extremely sensitive corporate data, those minimum requirements aren't enough. This is where you get into things like TEMPEST labs. It's actually a fascinating area. See, computers and monitors, they all give off electromagnetic radiation, EMR. And specialized equipment can potentially intercept this EMR from, well, surprisingly far away, maybe up to half a mile. It could reveal what's being displayed or typed. TEMPEST labs are basically shielded rooms, Faraday cages essentially, designed to block this EMR leakage. They're expensive, but crucial for top-secret work. A less costly, though maybe not quite as secure, alternative is using low-emanation workstations that are designed to minimize those EMR signals.
Wow, EMR interception. That's some next-level stuff. So once evidence is actually inside the secure lab, how do you physically lock it down? We're talking hard drives, phones, USB sticks.
The evidence container itself is key. It has to prevent any unauthorized access. Period. Best practices include storing these containers in a restricted area within the lab, limiting who has access to the absolute minimum number of authorized personnel, and always locking the container when it's not actively being used. No exceptions. Now, if you're using combination locks, the security level of the lock and combination needs to match the sensitivity of what's inside. Old combinations. Destroy them immediately after setting a new one. Only authorized people should change them. You should do it regularly, say, every 6 months, or definitely when someone with access leaves. For keyed padlocks, it's just as strict. Appoint one person as the key custodian. Stamp any duplicate keys sequentially. Give a detailed registry of who has which key. Audit the keys monthly. Keep the keys themselves in a secure, lockable container. They need the same level of security as the evidence. Change the locks and keys annually. And critically, never ever use a master key for multiple evidence locks. That just creates a huge single point of failure if that key is compromised. the containers themselves.
Ideally steel, maybe with internal cabinets or a heavy-duty external padlock. For larger labs, a built-in evidence storage room can work, but it needs equally strict, if not stricter, security in its construction and access control. Also good ideas. Invest in a media safe specifically designed for digital media, which can be sensitive to heat or magnetism. And of course, maintain that meticulous updated evidence log for every single item that comes in or goes out. This entire process, it builds that unbreakable chain of custody that's so vital for court.
That level of detail is
Yeah.
impressive. A truly meticulous process. What about just the ongoing upkeep of the lab itself? What does that involve to keep staff safe and make sure operations stay sound?
Right. A well-maintained lab isn't just about looking professional. It's fundamental for operational integrity and, importantly, staff safety and health. This means immediately repairing any damage, walls, ceilings, floors, anything that could compromise security or safety. Cleaning crews. They need to be escorted and monitored at all times while inside the secure area. You also need measures to protect all that sensitive electronic equipment from static electricity damage. And proper disposal of materials is huge. Use separate, clearly marked trash containers for general waste versus sensitive materials that need secure destruction. And a quick warning here, dumpster diving is a real thing. It's a social engineering tactic where people literally go through trash looking for sensitive info. Think old printouts with SSNs, credit card numbers, maybe old password lists. Secure disposal prevents that. Overall, physical security comes down to having a strong policy and then enforcing it consistently. That means things like those sign-in logs, always escorting visitors, making sure staff know when visitors are present, installing alarm systems, maybe even hiring guards depending on the sensitivity.
Okay, so you have all these rigorous policies. How do you actually make sure they're being followed? How do you verify the lab stays secure day in, day out?
Auditing. Regular comprehensive auditing is the key enforcement mechanism. These audits need to cover everything. Physically inspect the ceiling, the floor, the roof, the exterior walls. Look for any potential vulnerabilities. Check all the doors and locks. Review the visitor logs. Scrutinize the evidence container logs. And maybe the most critical, daily check. Ensuring that at the end of every single workday, any piece of evidence not being actively worked on at a forensic workstation is properly secured in its container. This constant vigilance, this culture of security, regardless of the lab's specific layout, number of workstations, whatever, that's what maintains the integrity and ensures the legal admissibility of the digital evidence you handle.
Okay, looking beyond the daily grind now, how do digital forensics labs prepare for the unexpected? How do you future-proof against, say, a disaster or just the relentless pace of technology changing all the time?
Yeah, a robust disaster recovery plan is absolutely essential. It's not just about, fires or floods, although it covers that recovery from catastrophic events. It also needs to address things like managing a severe virus outbreak within the lab network, or how to quickly reconfigure workstations if needed. It definitely includes comprehensive backup policies and tools, not just for single disks, but also for complex RAID servers, those redundant arrays that store large amounts of data. And having configuration management tools is vital for keeping track of all software updates and patches across your systems. The main goal is always rapid recovery, minimizing downtime and preventing data loss when something bad happens.
And on the technology front, how do you manage equipment upgrades when everything seems to become obsolete so quickly?
That really falls under the umbrella of risk management. It involves figuring out how much risk you're willing to accept for different processes, and that includes equipment replacement. You need a strategy to identify which equipment is so mission critical and needs periodic scheduled replacement versus maybe less critical items that you can afford to replace only when they actually fail. As a general rule of thumb, computing equipment usually performs optimally for, say, 18 to 36 months under normal forensic lab conditions, which can be demanding. So scheduling upgrades within that kind of time frame helps prevent unexpected failures during critical investigations and ensures your lab stays equipped with effective modern tools. So yeah, to kind of wrap this all up, establishing and maintaining a forensically sound digital lab, it's a highly rigorous, really multifaceted effort. Every single detail we've talked about, from getting that AME accreditation down to having the right, maybe obscure spare cable on hand, it all plays a crucial part in ensuring the absolute integrity of digital evidence. It demands precision, unwavering security, and just a relentless commitment to adapting in this constantly evolving digital world.
What a fantastic deep dive this has been. It really shines a light on the incredibly meticulous and strategic nature of computer forensics, and how crucial all these foundational elements are for any investigation to be effective and, importantly, legally defensible. For all of you listening, especially Dr. Sampak College of Business students, but really anyone interested in or heading into computer forensics, understanding these components isn't just academic theory, it's absolutely fundamental to your success out there in the field. This discussion has clearly shown just how many layers of precision are involved. Thinking about everything we've covered from the physical security protocols, the TEMPEST labs, the detailed evidence handling, right down to the specific software inventory, what specific aspect of setting up and running a lab do you think is the most critical for maintaining the integrity of digital evidence? And why? We genuinely love to hear your perspective, so please share your thoughts and any questions you might have in the comments below. And remember, if you found this deep dive valuable, please do like, subscribe, follow, and share it with anyone else who wants to help expose the truth in the digital evidence. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and stay informed.